Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Today is Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. The time is now 6 p.m. and the Boynton Beach Community Redevelopment Agency Board meeting is now called to order. Let's proceed to the invocation led by Board Member McCray, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Board Member Kelly. Would you please stand?
Let us bow to the most holy. I want to say thank you this afternoon for our mayor, for our chairman of our board, because you let us know that you're still in the healing business. For that, we want to say thank you. We pray for the city of Boynton. We ask that you continue to hold Boynton in the hollow of your hand. You know what we stand in the need of before we even ask. Let us do everything tonight in decent and in order. In your name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Let me turn to our interim city clerk, Tammy Stanzioni. If you could, oh, it's not Tammy today. My apologies. And it has the Tammy tag over there, too. Well, if you could please begin the roll call.
Chairman Rebecca Shelton.
Present.
Vice Chair Thomas Turkin.
Present.
Board Member Angela Cruz.
Present.
Board Member Mac McCray.
Here.
Board Member Amy Kelly.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We're now moving on to additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda. We'll start with Board Member Cruz.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Turkin.
Nothing, Chair. Thank you.
Board Member Kelly.
No, thank you, Chair.
And Board Member McCray.
I have none, Chair, please.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Let's now turn to legal counsel. Are there any updates?
Good evening, Board. Nothing from legal. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's now begin with informational items and disclosures from CRA board members and staff. We'll begin on my left with Board Member McCray.
I want to say, it's on now. Thank you. I got over to meet your neighbors. I got there about 7:05, and it was in full swing, and it was having an awesome time, so I did make it. I just want to let you all know I did make it. The next thing is I want to thank you all for sitting to my right, because on my left there's nobody here, and I have so much room. Thank you.
Board Member Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. This isn't necessarily CRA related, but I thought it was some fun information. We have a resident that lives in Boynton Beach who is actually competing on Chopped Castaways. It airs, the first episode airs tonight, so if we get out of this meeting early enough, it might be cool. But she is a world-renowned chef. She was on Hell's Kitchen, placed second runner-up, and so she's one of our Boynton's own, and so I just wanted to throw that out there. So Hannah Flora is her name.
It's a big week with Driftwood and that for Boynton and the call.
I know.
Board Member Turkin and Board Member Cruz.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on. No, information only, or then only are there any information only items my colleagues would like to discuss?
No, Chair.
Okay. All right. And we are going on to announcements and awards.
Good evening, Board. Mercedes Coppin, Business Development Manager. We are very excited to host our first Rock the Plaza of the season this Saturday, May 16th at Ocean Plaza. The plaza is located at 640 East Ocean Avenue, and that's directly across from the Boynton Harbor Marina. This is a free business promotional activation that will take place from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., and it is designed to spotlight and support the local businesses at Ocean Plaza. Attendees can look forward to an afternoon featuring live music from Paul Anthony and the Reggae Soldiers. Food and beverages will be available from the restaurants at the plaza, which include Cafe Frankie's, Bailey's Blends, and Sushi Joe. We will also have special Boynton Beach Buck promotions for interested in participating businesses, and we'll provide complimentary samples for each of those restaurants as well, and there'll be family-friendly games and activities. Free parking is going to be available on site, but it is limited, so we encourage people to utilize the free parking at 115 North Federal Highway, and we will have crossing guards at the intersection to assist with crossing. Can I answer any questions?
I have one.
Please.
Yes, sir.
It was answered today because I wanted to know why was we starting at 2 o'clock, and they explained to me we have to work around the schedule of those people who is in that plaza, so, because I thought it was too early to start, but I understand why. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercedes.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to the next portion of the agenda, which is the amended agenda from 15G. That's what I have.
No, we're on
Fine,
public comment.
Oh, that's not in my script.
I'll say, Board Chair, if you'd like to amend the agenda for 15G to move it up here, you could take a motion to do so.
Do we want to, wait, okay.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second to move up amended items 15G. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Board Chair, could, your executive director is wondering if you'd also like to move up item 12.
They coincide with one another.
Okay.
I'll motion to move up item 12, connected to item 15G.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second to move up item 12. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Item 15G is our presentation for the four-part CRA assessment.
Who's got the PowerPoint? No, to transition. Who's got the clicker? Oh, over there. You got it. The infamous PowerPoint remote redeems itself. Before I get started in the assessment, I do want to say, anytime there's any sort of transition or restructuring, sometimes some of the changes can come with emotion. It's not a great thing that happens on this side. Anytime you restructure and you have to either reduce personnel or there's any sort of wholesale changes that creates anxiety in staff, and a lot of that comes with a great deal of responsibility on this side of the aisle as well. So there were some personnel changes within the CRA. There was 4 personnel that were, their positions were eliminated. Moving forward, there's going to be some promotions in here, additional responsibilities, and some of those are also going to transfer in additional ILA amendments at a future date to roll some of those positions into the city. But I want to make sure the board keeps in mind that the CRA will remain an independent, distinct organization from the city. So with that being said, we chose to look at 4 separate reviews. One, how's the agency run and structured from a governance standpoint? Finances, that was a big kind of point of emphasis with the revenue spending, financial controls, operations and staffing, and along with legal compliance. So if you can see some of the highlights, the CRA does have a very, very strong audit record, 16 clean audits. And what I want to point to you guys, and I think Board Member McCray hit on this, we're not actively looking for fraud or anything because we're not looking for accounting inconsistencies. We're looking for, hey, how can we be more efficient with our finances? So even though you can have a clean audit, there's always room for improvement when we're looking at top and bottom line savings. So for every, and this is a tremendous accolades towards the board as well as staffing. For every $1 you guys spent in grants, it's $3.5 additional dollars are coming into the city in reinvestment. We got a total of 55 million plus private development commitments in the city, and currently you have 8 TRFA agreements. Some are active, some are coming later on. So here is a big issue that we found since 2017 all the way to 2026, probably about a 10-year time span. I've been here in the city since 2005, and I can tell you that a lot of these issues that came out of the CRA have been here long before some of us actually took some of these roles on, and it creates instability. Not necessarily when you get down to the granular or technical details of the day-to-day, but when you don't have stable leadership in place, it's a trickle-down effect, and it's tremendously unfair to staff as well as you guys, because a lot of things can get lost in translation. So we started with 2017, 2019, and you'll see a repeated mantra, probably right around 1.5, 2 years, is every single time you have a leadership transition for one reason or another. The latest was RMA's contract when it was self-terminated. There was an incident that occurred. That incident was predicated on the investment of some of the CRA's monies that are committed, but at the same place, it could have been handled better. So I will also say that going forward, the board made a decision 30 days ago to put in place myself as well as the rest of my team, Adam Temple, Andrew Mack, and Development Services Director Amanda Radigan, to move this agency forward, and that's what we've done. So 6 issues that must be fixed. So we found during the financial aspect, and some of this is also going to flow into item 12. I guess I'll turn to the attorney. Is it okay if I reference some of those issues? So one of the big things was we found $39.8 million in TD accounts. And what we found was those monies were being left in essentially a non-interest bearing account. And what I mean by that were they were in a savings account that bared less than 1% interest. Typically, when you see an organization, if you have committed funds and there's inflows and outflows in your cash flow statement, just because you have activity, financial institutions are still going to give you not a yield like you would see on fixed annuity bonds or fixed bonds or some of your CD accounts where you can get upwards of between 4 to 5%, but you can still get a money market account where you can get a yield between right around 3 to 3.75%, somewhere in there. So some of the funding and what we've been doing is we've been looking on the city side. We've gotten interest rates right around 3.3. So you're looking at right around an additional $1.8 to $2 million a year just in interest that we've discovered that is definitely attainable going forward. So we also look back, and what we discovered is, had the money been invested, and again, I'm not putting this on anyone, and I want the board to understand this because I kind of feel like the financial institution can be just as culpable as staff would be culpable in this scenario, that they should have reached out and say, hey, we have these financial instruments or we have these investments that you could probably have a better return on your funds for. So we looked at that, and there was probably about on the conservative side, it was about $8 million in lost opportunistic revenue, and high side, probably about $12 million. So the next thing I want to highlight is we have no formal agreement in the $4.7 million in annual city services between IT, HR, payroll.
When we have questions, do we go through the questions as we get to, or when everything's done?
Yeah, let him finish, and then we'll unload him.
So we found there was no formal agreement in the city services. And a lot of this is administrative side of things that we should have been brought to your guys' attention, as well as the legal aspect. I know the last meeting we did an operational ILA, and we're going to have to bring that back to amend it. And that's some of these things. Issue 3, the duplicated staff roles. You'll see the duplicated staff roles. 5 positions were identified that were being duplicated within city departments already do. Estimated cost is right around $761,000 a year. Now, those are some of the positions that were eliminated. Some of the other aspects are the legal fees, which is issue 4. Right now, I want to make sure I don't get stabbed. Legal fees. So we're looking to reduce costs, make sure we preserve that bottom line as much as we can as far as like the financial stewardship to the taxpayer. And we looked at, if the city takes over the procurement, we could see probably about between a $40,000 and $60,000 savings a year that we could shave off the legal fees. What I found, and like Catherine's been extremely helpful during this transition period. We've had a couple of very, very comprehensive conversations. Sometimes they can get animated. But we've came to a conclusion that there is room for savings, especially if we use the city's procurement. So that ILA will come back. I know right now Stacy and Catherine have been working on some amendments for that, so that you guys will probably see that in the future. So the events program, I don't want to highlight too much. You guys have been inundated with this one. We had a discussion, and essentially what it boils down to is there's some muddy waters when it comes to the state statutory regulations on this, but the FRA did author an opinion on it, and that's where a lot of the events issues are coming from. There's no black and white answer when it comes to the CRA doing events, but I know we've already been venturing down that road as far as rolling some of the events over to the city side. Issue 6. Key support role unfunded. I can tell you, Teresa Utterbach needs help. So she's basically Amanda Radigan on the CRA side. She does a phenomenal job. I can't say enough kind words about Teresa. She works her butt off, and we had an unfunded position there that we're going to bring someone in to give her the help to make sure the agency moves forward and is vastly more effective. So. All right, so what does this all look like? Total direct annual savings, about $532,000 to $608,000 a year. And those are position eliminations, things along that line. You'll see some of the legal fee reductions. And please, if I'm going too fast and you guys want me to stay, just let me know. I see the board chair shaking her head. No, keep going. Okay, so in addition to the investment policy implementation, in addition to the personnel and legal savings, you also have a debt retirement coming up after 2026, which is going to free up about $2.3 million. There's been interest in this board of doing a $10 to $20 million land acquisition loan. So we've been leveraging some of those financial institutions that desperately want to give us the 3.3% interest rate and also help us lower the that loan. What we've also discovered is, since the city is a government entity and the CRA is not, the city can get an actual lower interest rate to save us even more money, probably about 100 basis points. Special taxing district. 3 city plans all point in the same direction. The CRA is the city's primary tool for redevelopment. CRA manages marina. Business development grants belong under city economic development. None of the 3 plans authorized a standalone CRA events department, which we've been reimagining what Mercedes' position and role in CRA is. She's very, very, very competent. So she's doing a phenomenal job. We had a meeting this morning, and I expressed that to Catherine and see as far as what we can do to kind of expand her role. So what does the permanent structure look like? CRA will stay independent, remains a legally separate special district governed by the city commission as its board. 2 positions were elevated, both Bonnie and Teresa. We gave them both director level positions. City leadership appointed city manager as the executive oversight officer, assistant city manager as the CRA executive director, and development director as deputy executive director, which is Amanda. So, and of course, approved by the CRA board. Core mission is preserved. Administrative functions are consolidated within differing. If we have a city department to where we can save some money and essentially pay ourselves back with those TIF dollars back into the city, we're going to do that. Accountability systems created. A lot of that was our HR department went through a lot of the different policies, and a lot of policies were antiquated. They didn't really even have a standalone purchasing guard policy. There was some things that we had to rein in, provide structure and framework so that agency can definitely proceed forward successfully. Key findings, critical gaps. These are serious problems, and you guys should have got an executive summary sent to you that you can also review. So I'm not going to go through each one of these. If there's any issues that you guys want to have a Q&A on after the presentation, me and Amanda will be happy to take questions. These are the critical gaps that you guys just saw, and we highlighted those during the presentation. Yep. I can tell you, my staff, it was a tremendous amount of work. I gave them 30 days. I promised this board 30 days. I was appointed April 13th. It's May 12th now. And we're presenting a fairly comprehensive and detailed overview, and I know there's going to be questions, and we're definitely still getting through these processes, but once we have redundancy plans in place, you're going to see a completely different CRA. The event's high risk. Obviously, you guys have beat that horse, so we're not going to go into too much detail on that. So bottom line, the goal of the permanent oversight framework is simple. We want to lower the cost, estimated 4.6 to 4.9 annual improvement starting fiscal year 2026 and 2027. We did some analytics, and we look at, in the event that the CRA sunsets in 2044, what the overall dollar amount the city is going to, there's going to be a changeover period. The city, with the numbers that we're seeing as far as the redevelopment and how effective the CRA could be in the future, anywhere between 90 to 120 million in 2044 for the city, and that's from a redevelopment aspect. Better accountability, written agreements, service standards, regular commission reporting. These are all policy overhauls, things of that nature that we put in place. Stronger results, CRA successful programs, protected and properly resourced. So overall, 30 days, we've identified right around $5 million. When that comes in October, we're projecting probably about a 4 to 7% increase in overall revenues. So $16.7 million is what the CRA got from the city, in addition to about $9.5 million from the county, for a total of right around $27 to $28 million. So you're probably going to look at increasing that by about $1.2 to $1.5 million over the next year. So you should approach around $30 million in annual revenue. So that concludes the presentation. Me and Amanda and also Adam Temple are here, along with Alan Lawson and Danielle Whitefield, if you guys have any questions.
Board Member Cruz, if you want to start. Any comments or questions?
Oh, can we go back to I think, was it the first? Whatever slide had the,
I think they just took the presentation down. What slide did you want?
that one, thank you.
Okay.
Can we go a little bit into the issue number 1, which is the $39.8 million? Can you go into detail?
Commissioner Cruz, excuse me, can you put some volume in your voice, please, so I can hear?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Thank you. Can we go a little bit into issue number 1 to understand the current situation with the $39.8 million earning nothing? Can you go a little bit into?
It was earning. It was just earning a very small amount of interest. So technically, it was in compliance with the CRA's financial policy. It was earning a very nominal amount of interest. But Alan, you want to come up here and speak about the funds and what you discovered?
I mean, it really does just come down to financial common sense
Right.
to be able to make a lot of money on a lot of money, right? That's the bottom line of it.
You have a chunk of money, you're not
Yeah,
going to put it in
so,
your savings
you know,
account, you're
if we
going
have
to look at
specific questions,
what
I think it could
options,
keep
yeah.
this moving. But go ahead.
Hi, Commission. Just to be clear, so there's Florida statute 218-415 that governs the investment of all public funds held within any municipality as well as the CRA. Whether it's been itemized or whatever, it's just sitting in a non-interest bearing account, not earning what we typically do right now, our funds. We do about over 3.5%. When I started here, it's gone down a little bit. So in the assessment that we did, we realized that they were missing roughly $1.8 million. At that time, we have met with Truist Bank. The prior finance director actually had set up a meeting with Truist Bank. They already gave us a quote last Tuesday. Monthly increase in interest was just $105,000. Essentially, that would have paid for the ILA. 1 month would have paid for the ILA for services for the city. So that right there, and that's if you don't manage the cash. What the city finance team does is we daily manage our cash balance and how it's being invested on a daily basis. So what that does is that allows us to leverage a higher yield, roughly 50 basis points higher, which, when you're talking about 30, 40, 50 million, that adds up a lot over time.
Okay.
And so you're saying that there's an opportunity for us to make a higher percentage of interest, but it's still, are we protecting principal?
100%.
Okay, that was the question.
No, it's 100%. These are money market accounts. The principal is saved, and the governance of 28415 specifically highlights the investment tools that need to be invested to secure that balance. So the risk is a very, very, very low risk.
Perfect. Board Member Turkin, do you have any comments or questions?
No, listen, I think this is great. I know before I got in government and before I started coming to CRA meetings as a resident, I didn't know the difference. I just knew that the road needed improvement, that my taxes was going up, and that, I'm not involved in the day-to-day. And I think whether we look at it from the city's perspective or the CRA's perspective, is that these are all tax dollars. These are all residents' tax dollars, and it is this board's responsibility to be fiscal-minded when it comes to that, And so I've heard time and time again from residents, people, members on the CRAB board, that there's a lot of redundancy between the city and the CRA, and it's our job to be stewards and identify any inefficiencies and allow the right individuals to identify those and create, some type of solutions. I think as far as the investment perspective goes, our policy, I believe, was very weak. It fit policy from what I read, and so I think we need to revisit that. I don't know what that looks like. So, later down the road, if there's another board, another director, we're protecting the taxpayers. Ultimately, this is a good exercise, especially from what we've seen in Tallahassee, last year, where they were looking to dissolve the CRAs. And that was because you had cities all throughout Florida, primarily on the West Coast, having events costing over $1 million, parades and whatnot. And they weren't seeing that return economically back into those communities. And so I think when you have a board or an executive director, management overseeing and practicing these financial exercises, it shows, not just the residents and the taxpayers that we're being fiscally minded, but it also shows Tallahassee that we're not playing games. We understand that, we're taking this seriously, and, we're not going to be the city that doesn't respect the state government, doesn't respect the taxpayers, and we're going to do everything we can to eliminate inefficiencies and redundancies. So I thank you for all staff who has done their due diligence. I know 30 days is a quick turnaround in doing so. But ultimately, we're here for the taxpayers, and we're here to be as efficient with their money as possible. Thanks.
Thank you. Board Member McCray?
Thank you. First of all, I'm glad to hear that, you all stated it's going to be a separate agency. Rumor mill starts real fast. Community is stating that we need to be very careful that we are going to commingle city funds and CRA funds. I hope we are saying no. Is that what we're saying? They're not going to be mingled. That's the first thing. Second thing, I'm glad of the positions that you all created for promotions. I'm taken back by the property that's on MLK Boulevard, where we don't have, places filled in, because I don't know what the problem was. But I do believe that when we give people money and they're not being, good stewards of the money that we give them, and they kind of like give us their behinds a kiss, I'm gonna be honest with you, and they don't want to put people in and finish things out. We need more chief in this committee to say that we're not gonna play games. You play games too long. If you can't handle it, then don't worry about it, just leave it alone. You stated that the assistant city manager, which assistant city manager?
Adam Temple.
Okay, it'd be nice in reports if we start giving names with faces. I'm learning them. The publics need to learn them as well. Everybody don't know everybody.
Adam, stand up. Look at that beautiful man.
Well, I'll look at him, but men are usually referred to as handsome, but if you want to call him beautiful, go ahead. But, that's just what I want to make sure, I'm glad that Board Member Turkin, said what he said. I'm in favor of what we're doing, but I wanted to make sure that we don't send out a perspective that we're commingling funds, that the city is hurting for funds, and this is why we did what we did. Thank you.
Remember Kelly?
Will be brief. I thank you for all this work. I know I've had lots of conversations with staff along the way, so I appreciate. I've walked into Alan's office and sat down and had conversations with him, and so I'm very up to date on what's going on. And as I said at the last meeting, when we were talking about the money, and Vice Chair Turkin kind of touched on it. On top of us protecting funds, it's also our job to make sure that we're doing our best to bring in funds that can be used to further our job and our tasks here. And so thank you, Alan, for all of your hard work on looking at what we can do to invest these funds and make sure that we're bringing in some extra income, because we know that we're buying houses left and right, so we need some extra funds. So, it is always difficult to make decisions and to make changes. Change is hard. We know that. We all, we're human, and it's hard, but it's necessary to move things forward sometimes. And so, thank you, Amanda, for all of your hard work. And I just look forward to continuing open communication with staff as we, move forward and see what's next for the CRA as a whole. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions, or anybody like to entertain a motion?
No, I
Discussion?
think just discussion.
Okay. It has it in here for a motion. Okay, now we're moving on to 12.
Alan, you want to come up and present 12? It's the money market account.
Motion to remove from the table.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second to remove item 12 from the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Yeah, where are you going?
Oh, I'm sorry. So the,
Yeah, let me ask a question before we get started. He's responsible for our money? Go
Not
ahead.
my money.
no, right now, TD Bank has 3 accounts. We're looking to move the money into a different account that has to be approved by the CRA that yields a higher interest rate, around 3%. I'm still working on that with them right now. I'm also in the process, which I'll present later, we are evaluating 3 different other firms, Bank of America, Truist, as well as Pinnacle, to come into the portfolio plan, which I have meetings with right now. But for right now, I do need approval to move forward to then invest these dollars, the $36 million that's just sitting in a non-interest-bearing account, to provide that into an account that can do a 3+% interest.
Okay.
So, Mayor, if I
Yeah,
may.
please.
I'm okay to move forward. The other thing I want to know on top of that is this board has discussed potentially looking to do a bond A loan was the last thing that I had discussed with the former CRA director for land acquisition, right? And, just for the record, for the public, we're looking to do this so that we can purchase properties so that the city can decide what is built and we have more control over our development. One thing that the former CRA director had mentioned was he wanted to move this money into an account, and where he was shopping was, hey, he was using the potential loan as a leverage and bargaining chip to discuss where we were going to keep our money. And so I asked that if we do move forward, and that is the board's direction, that we, have that conversation with these different banks. Because if this board, and we may not, I've made my position pretty strong, but I think it's good business practice and negotiation to have that conversation with them and let them know that, hey, we may be doing this. And so if that leads to a better interest rate for us on that loan, I think, that's a fair shake.
It absolutely will.
Yeah, so that's my only thing, if we decide just to include that into the conversations. There's a lot of documentation in this board discussing that. I don't know if the bank would need to see that, whatever. But I think that's an important thing to think about as we continue to move the city and CRA forward.
Yes, Commissioner.
Here. Alan, I want to say thank you, but you utilized the three main branches of banks that we have here in the city. Did we miss any? I'm just saying, if there's an opportunity you might have overlooked, you think you overlooked any?
I'm talking with Seacoast tomorrow. They reached out to me. I'm going to give them the opportunity. So as the word is getting out, I'm actually getting reached out to. So no stone will go unturned.
Thank you, sir. That's what I want to hear.
Chair.
Yes.
Catherine, real quick, on the policy that is on this agenda item, is there anything that has changed on this policy that having to do, I think that there was when we discussed this, or we didn't discuss it, we tabled it, but in that previous agenda review, it had to do with strengthening that policy. So I'm just wanting to know what changed so that, for
Yes,
clarity.
ma'am, I understand the question. So there are just several aspects for consideration. The first was that the item was originally presented to you as something to do with what were essentially excess CRA funds. What is being proposed tonight is a way to treat it a little bit more like a checking account. And so because CRAs don't carry reserves, when it was presented to you before, it was a trickier question under the policy. The second thing is you'll see that we've updated the item before you with some underlying language to adjust the motion so that because your CRA policies, financial policies, are currently under consideration, although right now it does require board action, this would allow the executive director and the financial team to treat this money more as the city's money is treated moving forward. So there's a change in sort of the way the funds are, the purpose of the funds, which is not a reserve account, but more like an active account. And then also to allow the policies to adapt to be more like what's being presented to you tonight. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just wanted to reiterate, the principal will be protected, right?
100%.
Okay. Just wanted to say that for the record. Thank you.
Make a motion. Would anybody like to
You looking
make
for a motion?
Yep.
Okay, motion to approve 12A.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Now we'll be moving on to public comment.
I do apologize, Board Chair. I should have stopped you there. That item should take public comment as it is a substantive item solely within the board's purview under the current policies.
Would anyone like to make public comment on our last item of moving the money into an account?
Hi, Susan Oyer, Boynton Beach. I'd suggest you take a look at Chase Bank. It's one of the largest in the world. And I know from my own personal investments, they pay significantly more than all the rest. And which is nice since I'm like a realtor like you guys, I'm not making money, so I'm pulling extra out every year and I'm able to take it out of that account, not out of my other ones. So, and I talked to Andrew about it before. I don't know if he got a chance to talk to you guys, but definitely look at Chase. There's a reason why they're one of the largest in the world, and they have separate types of accounts that have more protections maybe than others, because there's that $250,000 limit. So they said that they have ways of tacking up accounts to have larger amounts insured. So worth checking out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to public comment. The public comment section of the meeting is for the public comment on all items on the agenda or items that are not on the agenda. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment on all items on the agenda. However, the board retains the right to increase or decrease the 3-minute limit prior to the start of public comment. Each public speaker shall be given the same number of minutes unless it becomes necessary to terminate the speaker's comments in order to maintain orderly conduct and proper decorum in the meeting. Persons making public comment may not assign or donate their public comment time to another individual or allow another individual extra time to comment. However, any persons requiring assistance will be accommodated as required by the American with Disabilities Act. Prior to addressing the board, speakers present at the meeting will go to the podium to make their comments, and speakers participating virtually will unmute their device at the time requested. Speakers may be asked to state their name and address for the record. Any person may provide written comments to the board prior to the meeting. That's just a mouthful. Come on down, Susan.
Susan Oyer, Boynton Beach. So I wanted to point out that Palm Beach County Historical Society is giving the Fannie James Pioneer Award to a Boynton Beach resident. That is Jean Ann Thurber. That will be on Wednesday, May 27th, starting at 5:30. Tickets are free, but you do have to go on their website, Palm Beach County Historical Society, to get your ticket. And I bring this up because she's my cousin, and I'm very proud of her. This is hard to get this award, and a lot of people are not aware. She is descended from 4 of the pioneer families, one more than me, and she's really fighting hard to save the Woodlawn Cemetery, which is, I'm sure you've seen, a hot mess in West Palm Beach. So don't ever mess with our cemetery. The people rise up over this one. And she was the assistant principal at Atlantic High. She's an art teacher for decades. And her husband is the one that all the Thurber buildings are named after at the school board. But she has made a huge difference as an artist in Palm Beach County. But she saved all of her family's stuff for generations. So I think she's gotten this award because she was able to turn around and donate an obscene amount of items to the Palm Beach County Historical Society. They're in their permanent collection. So the next time you guys get up there, if you don't want to go to this award ceremony, take a look around. You'll see donated by Jean Ann Bridgman Thurber all over the place. And her end of the family is the one who started Bethesda by the Sea. And her dad was one of the first licensed engineers, if I'm saying it correctly, in the state of Florida, and helped build, I think it was the bridge over to Key West. So that is one of Boynton Beach's residents, and she's 80. She just turned 88, which she doesn't want me sharing. But she also used to be a model too, so she's very statuesque and beautiful. And so if you get a chance to go to the Historical Society Fannie James presentation on the 27th, you should come.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Do we have anyone online?
No, Chair, there's.
Public comment is now closed. We will continue to the consent agenda. Are there any items my colleagues would like to pull for this discussion? Going once with Board Member McCray. Let's start with you. Anything you want to pull? Board Member Kelly?
No,
Board
thank
Member
you.
Turkin?
Yes,
Okay.
and I'll ask staff to chime in if I have this incorrect. 14D,
We're on 11.
We're on 11.
11.
oh, I'm sorry,
No, it's
I'm sorry.
all messed up too. Don't worry. I have 2 of them going
No,
on.
I'll
in
make a
there.
motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We've done 12. We're moving on to 13. We have, let's move on to the CRA Advisory Board. Tonight, the CRA Advisory Board is in attendance to provide a presentation on opportunities to honor the 2 Heisman Trophy winners that are from Boynton Beach. Welcome to the podium for the presentation.
Yes,
Clicker.
thank you so much. My name is Allie Lepresto. I'm going to be presenting. I'm also here with some of my other CRA Advisory Board members.
Have a presentation?
Yes,
for-
they
okay.
should have it on the computer.
Got the
to look.
clicker? You got it? Okay. Is it loaded?
It's loading.
Have a presentation.
We sent it to the agenda, and I thought they would be pulling it up.
It's attached to the item.
Right, but IT is saying it's not, yeah.
Thank you.
Stand by.
Do we want to propose moving forward, maybe? And then we can have them present after the next section of the agenda?
Want them to
I'd like to
stay.
say something. This is Ally's last meeting, right? No.
As a chair.
As a chair, okay.
Yes.
All right, just want to let you know that she's the chair, and I'm 1 year, brand new.
5 months.
1 year.
IT, do we know how long it's going to take to load this? I can't see
I can't
you.
see.
Let's see.
1 minute? Okay.
We
Oh,
can kind
10
of give an
minutes? Like, is that
oversight.
a 1, a 0? I don't know, I thought I saw a 1 and a 0.
So basically, we
Do
were
we wanna
tasked with
propose
the
moving forward?
option to come up with some recommendations for the city and the CRA to consider honoring the Heisman Trophy winners, Lamar Jackson and Travis Hunter. And what we came up with is several recommendations that you can incorporate into the CRA district. And then our main recommendation is actually located outside of the CRA district. However, we feel it's very appropriate for what the intention is to do with this project. So as you can see here, we have this initiative matters. How do I click? Is it up?
Wait,
There you go.
they're putting it in. There we go.
Okay. Okay. So why this initiative matters to the city? Honestly, it's going to celebrate nationally recognized hometown excellence. There are not many cities that can say they have a Heisman Trophy winner, but yet alone 2 that are from the city of Boynton Beach. Like I said, Lamar Jackson and Travis Hunter. Lamar Jackson actually was attending Boynton Beach High School, of which I was just brought to my attention. They are actually going to be retiring his jersey, Friday Night Lights, on this Friday, May 15th. So that is a huge deal to the city of Boynton and also the high school. It also will make an option to strengthen the civic pride and youth inspiration within the community by honoring these 2 heroes. It's also going to enhance our downtown identity and also tourism appeal. We're looking to align this with the CRA plan to honor those people within the city and have a placemaking spot for them that shows our appreciation to what they have done outside of our city. As you can see here, there are other cities that do tributes to different football heroes. There have been statues, murals, banners that honor these well-respected athletes. And these are just some options that we have pulled together to show that here tonight. So moving on, the Heisman mural. Our recommendation is to focus on the Azell Hester Jr. Park, where, as you know, the Boynton Bulldogs play. There are a lot of up-and-coming sports, football aspiring athletes there that are there constantly. The park is extremely beautiful. It was one of the staples for where the Bulldogs are playing. And then also, what our plan here is to do a large-scale public art installation. We also have picked this because it is located within the city of Boynton in the east, and a lot of kids ride their bikes there and go to hang out there as well. So if they're constantly reminded about these 2 local Heisman heroes on their day-to-day basis, it may provide more inspiration for them as well. We decided to design like an Instagram-worthy civic landmark that would be at this park. There would also be opportunity for an initial unveiling event within the community to all come together to honor them, possibly having these 2 athletes come as well, and then annual events to follow that we could look for sponsorship from different entities and also bring together more community involvement. And then that also plays into the fact there could be a yearly sporting event to meet the Heisman stars, and as the time goes on, maybe welcome more stars to this honorary mention. So as you can see here, the first of two are the proposed tribute concepts. The one on the left is the Boynton Beach Walk of Fame. We came up with this idea that could be on both sides of the field or on a wall there at the field. We would have empty stars as well on the Walk of Fame that future athletes could aspire to be on. It doesn't have to just be solely around Heisman Trophy winners. It could also be other athletes that are recognized, maybe Olympians or something like that. The options are really endless when it comes to that, but the starting of it would be the Heisman Trophy winners there. Also, we came up with the idea to do some banners as well. Those are fairly, from our research, are inexpensive and can be placed within the CRA district, depending on what streets we would like to move forward with them as well. The other concept that we have proposed at the Azell Hester Field is that we could have a large mural where we could work cross-functionally with other boards within the CRA. So maybe the art group as well could design something, put out RFPs for certain artists that would like to come in and represent the city, but also their art can be showcased as well. The placement of it, we didn't really have a specific recommendation. It could be at the front of the park upon entrance, or it could be down even in one of the end zones. So that way aspiring football players would see that as they're running down to possibly score a touchdown or a field goal. Okay, so then our community engagement strategy here highlights that we would partner with local schools and youth leagues. We would also establish, possibly for the events that are annual event, a Heisman Youth Scholarship Fund, working with other businesses within the CRA to draw funds from. Also, there's an annual Heisman Day celebration event. There could be athlete appearance invitations as well for unveiling. And then obviously to highlight again, we're focusing mainly on the Boynton Beach Bulldogs, who call that park their home. We also came up with some ideas around the street renaming concept. We did come to find out that Lamar Jackson Way is actually already at Boynton Beach Community High School. So this just highlights what it could look like. We were very aware that you don't want to actually change the names of the street, but you could put up a memorial sign that highlights it to honor those players as well. And then finally, the implementation roadmap. Obviously, these are the recommendations that we're putting forward. Again, just a starting point, but we really want to achieve and complete the task of being tasked with honoring these two Heisman Trophy winners. And as you can see there, that would be the implementation roadmap. So, thank you very much. Did you guys have
Awesome.
Thank you.
Did you guys have any questions?
I love this. Thank you.
I don't have any questions, Chair, but I do have some comments.
Please.
Okay, first of all, I appreciate the work that you all have done. Years ago, that was a football player. His name was Butler, from the Butler family, many years ago. He was the first Afro-American to went on to play for the NFL here in Boynton. Seems like he has been forgotten. You know, I'm one of those that go way back, so I'm just saying, so we have to be careful when we start doing things like saying, you know, we want to honor, and when we forget where we came from. I appreciate what you all are doing. This could be a branding thing for the city of Boynton. And that's what we need to do, start branding what we have accomplished here in the city of Boynton. Hester Field is great. It's new. You put a statue there, anything you want, but I'm just saying we're going to have to start leaving leeway for other people that's coming behind them. We don't want to get everything locked into one or two people, and we don't have room to expand. So I don't want to say we start, you know, putting this in case, put anything else, you know. Let's start, if it's a walk-up hall, you know, at least some more stars, but some more stars to come. That way encourage young people saying, I want to work towards getting my name there.
Yeah.
And then
100 yards of
years
stars.
ago, that was a baseball player that lived in Boynton. And when you would come into the city of Boynton, it would say, welcome to the city of Boynton, home of whatever his name was. what was his name? Yeah, Rick Rose, thank you. You're older than I am. Yeah, see? Thank you. Yeah, it was there, welcome to the city of Boynton. So we need to do something like that. I'm just saying, when you start bringing people in, let them know this is where these guys came from. So that's another thing you all could just bear in mind, but we need to start branding Boynton, and this would be a good branding tool.
Thank you. No, I agree. I love this, the Walk of Fame idea. I think, just, that's 100 yards of recognition, and an opportunity to just, like, Board Member McCray said, all of those members. And I know this conversation came up because of the Heisman Trophy winners, and that's why it came up. But I absolutely agree that if you've come from Boynton Beach and you have become an NFL player or played in the Major Baseball League, or you've played hockey, or you've done anything and you've come from Boynton Beach, we want to make sure that we're recognizing them. And so I think this is a great start. I love it. I love the Walk of Fame. I love the banner idea. I am excited about our being at Boynton Beach High School Friday night. I'm super excited about that. I have been talking to Andrew, probably on a weekly basis about when that's coming and when that's happening, because I drive past Lamar Jackson Way now every day on my way home, and it's super exciting to see that. So anytime that we can highlight the wonderful things that our youth are, starting out in Boynton Beach and becoming something, and becoming something, but giving back to their community. As Lamar Jackson comes back to the city and he plays football with the kids, and he's out there and he's in it. And so, and he gives back, and he has, anytime that we can honor them for what they do and bring recognition to them, I'm all for it. I love this. Thank you guys for all of your effort in doing this. I feel like, based on your presentation, you were as excited to do this as we are to see it. So just thank you, and I'll pass on to the next for comments, but this is exciting.
Board Member Turkin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you guys so much. Ally, thank you for your presentation. Great board, great content here. A lot of questions with the attorney as far as how we can utilize these funds. Does this match the CRA mission? I would argue maybe when we see Lamar on Friday, we ask him to kind of kick in for this a little bit. But, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Things that come to mind is maybe the entryway feature when Commissioner McCray was talking. I think that's a huge opportunity where the Boynton Inn is to highlight, welcome to Boynton, home of Lamar Jackson. That's an opportunity. I don't know. I'll let Amanda and staff kind of take the horns from here, but I would like to get consensus to move this forward on the staff level and dive more in if my colleagues support that. And again, thank you guys for volunteering, and I see Kim Kelly in the back. Thank you as well for volunteering for the CRA board. It's probably one of the most, if not the most important advisory board that we have here in the city, where you can make an impact and no one gets paid. So thank you for your time and, spending that time away from your families to serve your city. Thank you.
Chair, Vice Chair, I know you said Lamar Jackson, but don't forget Travis Hunter. I'm just saying we want both of them. Okay. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
As long as we don't put that girl, Couch Me Outside, we don't honor her, because she's from Boynton. She's from Boynton. She's from Boynton Beach. Bad baby?
I think she's from unincorporated.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Boynton.
I don't think so. We're not going to have a banner that says, Couch Me Outside when you get off 95. As long as we limit it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
guys.
you. We will now continue to old business. Item 14A is the consideration of letter of intent from Lennar Homes LLC as a result of a notice to dispose 419 North Seacrest. Staff, would you like to open this? Bonnie?
Good evening, boards. Bonnie Nicklin, Grantson Project Manager. This is after the March 9th meeting when we discussed with the board about the 419 North Seacrest property. We decided to move forward with a notice to dispose. The notice went out on March 13th. We put it in the Palm Beach Post, the CRA website, the City Hall lobby, and we mailed it out to our interested parties list to get the word out to as many people as possible. Anyone interested in the notice to dispose had 30 days to respond. We received one response from Lennar Homes on April 10th, and I just put a quick few slides together so that way you could see the visuals with what they are proposing. The property location, again, 0.33 acres right there that fronts Seacrest and Northeast 4th and Northeast 3rd Avenues. They are proposing to put the homes closer to the west side of the property, and they would front the avenues and provide a fencing and landscape buffer against Seacrest Boulevard, since that's going to be a busy corridor. They are proposing a Columbus floor plan. It is going to feature approximately 2,300 square feet, two-story, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage with appliances, impact windows, and a covered lanai. And the lanai is larger than what the patio rendering. It's about 8 by 9. So you can see the conceptual layout here. And this is the facade. They have two options, so that way they wouldn't be exactly the same. It would be one house of each. And their terms that they provided in the letter of intent, a purchase price is $70,000. That would be a $10,000 deposit. It would have an affordability of 15-year deed restriction. They are proposing a sales price for the moderate 2 income, which is 100 to 120% of the Palm Beach County AMI. That, with 2025 numbers, they change annually, so at 2025 numbers, it's approximately $370,000. The sale of homes would mirror the Palm Beach County Workforce Housing Program through the lottery system. And Lennar also proposed covering the costs associated with the demolition of the existing structure and any other permit and impact fees associated with the project. And if the board decided to accept these terms, we would draft the terms into the purchase and development agreement. And I'm here for any questions, as well as Lennar's team.
I think this is a great idea.
We're always looking at each other to see who's going first.
I think this is a great idea. I'm going first. I think this is fantastic, and I think that it does something with the property we've been holding on to for a long time and not doing anything with it. So not only does it make the neighborhood more beautiful, it's given it a purpose. Board Member McCray?
Let Turkey go first.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
All right.
I was going alphabetical.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. As always, you're amazing. So, Lennar, you guys have a fine product. Big fan. I want to talk about the lottery system and who these homes are going to, because the most important thing for me is that we have tax dollars here that we're pulling from to fund the special taxing district. Yet you have developers come in here, and Lennar, you guys are not the first, and you guys are great, and this isn't a dig, but a lot of these developers have certain requirements that they have to meet throughout the whole county to meet their workforce housing program. They come, I'm not saying this is Lennar, but we have had in the past, developers come, solicit us and say, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z to meet that quota. So then, in return for these tax dollars, you essentially get maybe not the best product. And again, I'm not discussing this as Lennar. This is just the situation in its entirety. I'm a big fan, I assure you. You get maybe not the best product, and then you have this lottery system to where now the city is tied on who's getting these homes, right? And so, we're essentially leveraging tax dollars from Boynton residents to then subsidize housing for a lot of people that live outside the city. Make that make sense. And so I think the conversation here is a lot larger than just this infill housing, which I think this is awesome. And thank you, Commissioner Kelly, Board Member Kelly, for spearheading looking at this and starting the RFP process and everything. This is a huge need. But I think, this is one of those framework questions that we need to look internally and change on how we do this, because it's not right that, there's a single mom, with a newborn that may not be eligible for this, or maybe there's a teacher, right? We see teachers, we've seen that all over the news fighting for 3%, you know what I mean? What kind of impact could we make for teachers that live here in the city of Boynton, right? Whether they're within the CRA district or not the CRA district, I think it's important to focus that ultimately a CRA, a city, special taxing district is to improve the lives of those who are contributing to it, right? And we do that through various methods, but I just couldn't, you know, I need to voice this. I need to understand how we can establish some form of mechanism in the future so that we can, you know, maybe contract with the GC and then do a self-build, a self-lottery with Boynton residents. So then that way we make sure that the people that are contributing to the city, the generations, you know, maybe grandma and grandpa move back, right? Whatever the case may be, the people who have invested in the city, who have decided to stay, can get some type of return, you know, on their ad valorem investment. And so, you know, and maybe that's not always going to be the case. Maybe we're not going to have, you know, 40 houses, but in this situation, there's 7, 8. I would argue there's probably 7 or 8 residents that we could find, you know, maybe their families are growing, you know, maybe their families are, you know, maybe they're empty nesters, whatever the case may be. I just want to make sure that we're doing our best to serve the people that live here and not subsidize housing for people who don't live here, because I just don't think that's fair. I think there's a lot of people who would, you know, jump at the opportunity, and they deserve that first and foremost outside of, before anyone outside of the city of Boynton Beach. So that's my soap drama. So thank you guys. I'm still a big fan. I just wanted to make sure we have that point of conversation, you know, as a board internally.
Respectfully, Board Chair, if I may just clarify for the record, I believe at this point we are discussing items 14A and B together, which they're both the same developer, same similar concepts, which is fine. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Chair.
Yes.
If I may. Yes, thank you. So I know we've done this in the past, and I thought it was in the agreement, and maybe Lennar can clarify, but I know we've done it previously where in working with the CRA, and Bonnie will know this too, in working with the CRA, and working with the city's SHIP program, and working with that there is a way to get the word out
Early
to
marketing,
our
yes.
Boynton Beach residents earlier than it just going to the market,
Yes, we
right?
can certainly early market, and Teresa can speak to her, you know, offline, happy to do a follow-up with you on our experience with the Cottage District interested parties list and how we were able to help facilitate that and get them to the people they needed to get income qualified through the county's program. So we're more than happy to commit our efforts to getting the word out.
Right, because I think the issue, it's kind of twofold. Getting the word out, and then what you just said was that making sure that the ones that are interested, the Boynton residents, have the ability or the backup to be able to know what they need to produce, because that's the second part of the puzzle, right? When they're, you know, you can know that you're interested in it, but then it's, what do you need to do to then have all the right things? Because if you don't have all the right things, then it's not like you get a second bite at the apple. It's, you don't have X, Y, and Z, and so you're not going to be put in the lottery. And so, so I'm glad to hear. I know, Bonnie, obviously, between you and Teresa, that you do everything that you can to make sure that our residents have the resources and the ability to do that. But I know that there is that kind of disconnect in, you know, if you're not well-versed in purchasing a property, let alone something where you have to meet all of these criteria in order to qualify, it can be a daunting task for anyone. So I just want to do whatever we can to make sure that it is our Boynton Beach residents are prioritizing this. And I know that the law doesn't allow us to, you know, set it aside, but I know that we have, you know, advertised early and done that. And in Cottage District, we've had several residents and actually employees of the city and stuff that have gotten those homes. And so it is exciting to know that we are able to make sure that there is an impact to our residents and our staff. So thank you.
What was the percentage of Boynton residents that received homes from the Cottage District?
Teresa will have to speak to that.
Board
And
member
again,
Wall.
I bring this up because this is an internal thing that we need to look at.
What
you know,
I can say is through the different agenda reviews that we've had, I've already started conversations with Catherine about ways that the CRA can build affordable housing and market it solely to Boynton Beach residents. So we are working through some legal things now, and we'll bring something back to you once we get through that.
Awesome. And I think it's important to note too, on the city side, we do have a workforce housing fund too, and maybe that's a joint venture later down the road.
A percentage I don't have off the top of my head, but I think out of the 41, there were 13 Boynton residents that received.
So it's like 40%, maybe less than 40%. I think that's, it should be 70, 80, you know? And I think if you have the ability to do it in-house, then you return it to the people who paid for it. So you have, what is that? You said 13?
13.
So you have 28 people essentially that got a subsidized home off the hard work of other people.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right. It's indifferent.
And I think you're bringing people into our city too, and that maybe they, I mean, we don't know, any of those other ones could be then a future employee of the city and then could really invest in the city. And so I understand your point, and I agree, if we can develop a workforce housing program internally where we can do those type of things and control the build and control where it goes. But I don't know, I like that we are able to get to truly return it to some of our residents and our employees. But I think that, you know, I don't know, I like when people want to move to Boynton Beach because I love my city, and so I want people to move here too. So I'm open to people coming from the outside.
Real quick, a thought. I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the reason why, and not to open a can of worms, but my understanding is that the reason why, you know, we're going with the county workforce housing is because the developers utilizing their requirement to build affordable housing or workforce housing in the county with this specific property. But the same thing we're doing right now, which is we're basically, if the agreement moves forward, we're giving away land that's worth more than $70,000 for $70,000 because it does provide that benefit of that affordability for our local residents. Definitely great point to saying that we definitely want to try to hone on our Boynton Beach residents and try to increase the possibilities of them to actually acquire those properties. I think that an easy way to do it would be to continue to purchase land, and we could, you know, do something similar to what we're doing now without it counting towards the county, and that would be the loophole that we could utilize to make sure that it only goes to our Boynton Beach residents.
That's what Amanda was just saying, yeah.
My hand's up now.
Sure.
So is that something that, if the board wants to ask if the developer will
But Amanda
consider
was
that,
just-
we can ask that question.
Yeah, we've actually started those conversations internally already. There are a couple of legal hurdles that Catherine and I are working through, but we can bring something back to you when we have more information.
Fantastic.
Thank you. I ditto what everybody up here has said. Thank you. We can look at SHIP funding as well, and also the CDCs. I'm just saying what they could bring to this table. The CDCs, yep. And I want to say that, I want to say to Lennar, thank you for bringing this here because right across from the Cottage District, this is a plus. I remember when those 3 little buildings was built. And I'm also not going to remember when y'all tear them down. So I'm moving on with time. Time waits for no man. Continue the good work and continue to bring great projects back here to Boynton. It's a plus across from the Cottage District. That's my district, but I represent the entire city of Boynton. I don't want to be partial, but thank you.
I agree. Okay, if there's no more comments, would any of my colleagues like more discussion or to make a motion?
And if I could clarify, sorry, since we discussed items 14A and B together, just please clarify which motion you're making and which item we're discussing.
Do you want to do 14A first?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second for 14A, letter of intent for Lennar Homes, 419 South North Seacrest. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Motion to approve 14B.
Would you like to hear the recap? Those are different terms than the previous item.
I would.
Okay, I'm happy to.
I heard it today, but go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Whatever the board would like to do.
Majority rules.
All right, so at the March 9th, the board accepted the terms or accepted us negotiating with Lennar rather, and directed staff to go and negotiate a few terms. So we met with Lennar on March 25th to discuss a few items focused on the different styles within each model, if we could add lanais to the back of the houses, swapping paver driveways for concrete driveways, a larger home for some of the larger sites, and the landscaping plan and post-construction guarantees is all summarized in the agenda item. And then on April 17th, staff took a quick field trip to their Port St. Lucie to view the models in person. So we saw the exact models that they'd be proposing to build here. So recap, here are the scattered lots, lots through 1 and 5, and there are 2 lots that would be split to be a minimum width of 50. So, and these are the final terms. They responded after staff's meeting. The purchase price would be $350,000 for the 5 lots with a $10,000 deposit, then moving up to $25,000 deposit after the effective 8 days of the effective date. Same affordability, 15 years. There's going to be a variety of affordability, which I think staff found appealing. One of the Belmont homes would be for low income, 5 Belmont homes would be for moderate 1, and 1 Columbus home for moderate 2. The development timeline they're proposing is certificate of occupancy on all 7 homes within 7 months of city building permit issuance. The sale of the homes would again mirror the Palm Beach County Workforce Housing Program on a lottery-based selection. And as an optional feature for the board, Lennar can build 6-foot PVC privacy fencing for all the homes. Staff thought that might be a nice bonus for some of the homes to have that. So if so, the Lennar is requesting a $6,000 credit per home to move forward with the fencing. And this is just to recap the 2025 prices. So again, we'd have 1 low and then moderate 1, and then the large home would be moderate 2. They're also seeking direction from the board on if they prefer a facade. You have option A, B, and C, or we can defer to Lennar's preference, but the board would just provide direction if you'd like one over the other.
Do my colleagues have a preference?
I like B.
Okay, we have 1 B, we got another B.
B.
B, all right, I'm counting to
right.
3 for B.
3 for Bs.
I wanted B too, so the rest are all right.
And this is the feature of the Belmont floor plan. It's 1,500 square feet, 1 story, 3 bed, 2 bath, 2-car garage, has appliances, impact windows, and a covered lanai.
Real quick,
Yes.
to go back to the plans, last time we had this in front of us, we asked for this might be a question for Lennar. We asked for the next gen model. I just want to get some, I know we and I spoke, you and I spoke, Bonnie, but I'd like to talk to Lennar and understand why that's not here, if that's a financial constraint or, what that hindrance is. Because we see that in other cities where they're not doing the workforce county program, and that's one of their top products. So I want to make sure if we're allocating land severely under appraised value, that we're getting the best model possible. And so whoever's in charge of the, financial analysis of this project, I would like to talk to. If that's you, that'd be great. Awesome, great.
Yes, we did look at it. Our next gen plan doesn't fit because of the depth on these home site sizes, which is why we stuck with this one, but then adding in the Columbus plan to provide the greater bedroom count to get a little bit closer there.
Okay.
Multi-generational living.
Okay.
And this is the Columbus option. So if the board had consensus on option A, B, or C for the facade, seeking board direction. I can hover or keep going and we can come back.
A or B.
Oh, I liked C, but
I like B and C.
B. Yeah, I like C. I like the change in the.
Or C.
I'm going with B.
I'm fine. B's fine.
I'll go with B.
I'll keep moving and we can
Yeah.
come back if y'all
B-
need
no,
to
B it
revisit.
is.
No, B it
B it
is.
Oh, okay, B,
B it
okay,
is.
consensus on B on both. This is the Columbus floor plan. You saw it previously. It's 1,800 square feet under air, but it's going to be around the 2,400 square feet, 2-story, 4-bed, 2.5 bath, 2-car garages, appliance, impact windows, and the covered lanai. And this is some pictures from our site visit when we went and saw the model home. So they really have some great finishes. They were beautiful homes.
Do they come furnished?
Yeah, just like that.
The model will.
Hey, this is the time to ask
Yes,
now.
yes.
The
This
model.
is the time to
Buy
ask.
the model.
Throw in a couch.
And I know they budgeted for wiggle room. I know they have.
And the next steps would be to accept these terms if the board wishes, or, make any alternates. And then we would bring back a purchase and development agreement for final approval.
Can we go back to the fencing? Can we get the train of thought? They were going to throw in the fencing for credit.
Yes, that kind of was suggested from former executive staff, and then kind of evolved from there, that some of these homes would have larger yards, and that would be a bonus for some families with kids and pets to have the home, because first-time home buyers, coming through the workforce housing program may not be able to afford that expense. And the PVC fencing would be more aesthetic pleasing than like a chain link if they had to put one up.
So
It's optional.
So they
for the board.
want, but so does Lennar want a $6,000 credit from who?
It would come off the purchase price. So instead of paying $350 for the
They'll
5
pay
lots, it'd be,
$356?
if you wanted a fence on each lot, it'd be $6,000 times 5 lots.
So 30,000.
Can you guys just throw in the fences? Come on. You guys are getting cheap.
Or, I mean, if the residents want them, because that's the other thing. I mean, we're giving you a credit, and what if the resident doesn't want a fence? And so then
No, we shouldn't give any credit. They should.
right,
should build
but that's
the
what I'm saying.
fences.
They're asking for a credit, but what if the resident doesn't want a fence? And so now we've paid, or we've given, I don't want to give a credit where
No, I don't
it
want to
hasn't
give any
happened.
credit. What I'm saying is they should just throw in the fence if the resident.
The resident wants
That's what I'm
fence.
saying.
Right.
Yeah, no credit.
Right.
Just, they're getting very cheap land,
Very economical
substantially. I mean, we could pull the numbers up, and the county, I think a tax break too with the county. So PVC fence, if the owner wants it, I think they should get it.
Guys just open a can of worms.
On down.
Well, when we're subsidizing property.
No, I'm not talking
for
about us.
people, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I agree.
We got to get the best deal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We're not willy-nilly, hey, tax and spend, let's do this.
Yeah.
Subsidize housing for people who don't live in the city. We're at least going to get a best deal and best bang for a buck, especially if the land is going to be significantly under appraisal.
I also think just consistency to make the neighborhood look better. You gotta have all of them fenced.
And wide driveways.
If you like, we can talk offline and bring back,
Yeah.
or if
Yeah.
you want Lennar to.
Offline,
Well, we have to decide the terms now.
yes.
So we can talk offline after we agree, but that's just a verbal agreement that doesn't hold up in court, So I think if we're going to enter into an agreement, we need to hash these out. We need to get the best bang for our residents.
Let her come on down. And talk loud this time.
We can agree to provide the fences as optional. We will bear that expense for those residents that want it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Very easy.
Great.
Easy,
There you go.
easy. Come on.
Great.
Come on.
Thank you.
Okay.
We should have negotiated the land cost now.
I tried before.
Yeah, no.
Let's make a, I would,
We don't have public.
somebody want to make a motion?
Motion.
Do we need public comment on this? Okay. No.
No additional public comment is required.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for working with us.
Next, we're moving on to item 14C, the consideration of the amendment number 2 to the agreement for on-demand transportation service with Circuit Transit, Inc. Staff.
Evening Board, Bonnie Nicklin. Yes, on April 24th, we received a request from Circuit to do a 5% increase in the cost for service. They have not had an increase request since we started service in 2024. Staff felt it was a reasonable request. It's within budget. To give you an idea of the cost increase, it would go from $34.97 an hour to $36.72 an hour for the GEMs, whereas the sedans would go from $38.27 an hour to $40.18 an hour. And again, it's within the budget, so no additional funding needed. And we're just seeking approval or direction.
You want to go first? I'll go. You know, I do have an issue with the circuit program and the way that it's operating now. I guess when you go to other cities and you see other providers that they're making money on their advertising and doing things, and you know, I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I just don't think circuit is making that happen. So I'd like to see that to be a change, or at some point, maybe we seek an alternate transportation service that is going to take the lead on that. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to like competition, right? I think there's a lot of vendors that are providing the same thing, and they're leveraging, you know, advertisement costs from local businesses to make this operate. And I don't want to, you know, there's the question of expansion and everything. So I think it would be in this board's interest to like renegotiate costs, because I do believe that there's other, you know, similar businesses that may be able to perform this a little bit cheaper. And, you know, and how they're able to do that is different as well. And so I think, you know, if, you know, when there's market competition, we can get a better cost. So that's my position is, you know, have them come to the table, let's renegotiate this. Or if they don't want to play ball, then we look at, you know, maybe at a different, different vendor to perform the same service. So that's my position.
I agree with that. I don't know if we need more time to look at other vendors, and this can be something that we table, but
Catherine, where are we on are we on like just a renew as?
This board renewed Circuit's agreement in February of this year, so they are currently under contract until February 2027. This was a price request increase outside of that.
Right.
The CRA does have termination options given a certain amount of time within the contract, so if you wanted for us to move forward on that, we could, but currently they will be under contract until February of next year.
Well, I think that gives us enough time to have staff look at, you know, maybe other options and look at the agreement that we have in place and see if there are, and then that way we have some answers when, you know, before February rolls around, because we really, for a February contract, we're looking at having discussions in December, right? December, January, to know what we're gonna do in February, so we're only a couple months, so half a year out to direct staff to look at, you know, what our options are, to talk to Circuit and see if they're willing to renegotiate or what they want to do, because we have been working on this yearly agreement pilot program, and I don't think we've ever really, it was a pilot program, so we were going to test it out. So I think we're done testing it out, so I think it's time to move forward with whatever that looks like. So that would be my thought on that.
And my thought on it is that when we look at the next one, you know, look at somebody that can give us some advertisement, so when they're whipping around, you know, we can see that's in Boynton, yep, advertisement. That's going to be one of the main things I'll be looking for. Can you provide Boynton with advertisement on your vehicles?
Absolutely. We can look at that.
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So motion to approve the renewal letter to amendment number 2 to the agreement with Circuit.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Because she's not here. Okay. Thank you, Bonnie. Item 14D is the consideration of the Commercial Property Improvement Grant Program for Patois Pizza.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Located in the heart of Boynton Shops at 137 Northeast 10th Avenue, Unit 104. Staff, go ahead.
Sure. So at the March 9th meeting, the CRA board gave the Patois Pizza a 60-day extension to kind of make progress on the construction and report back. They had until April 30th. On April 28th, they submitted a change of contractor with the building department, which was approved. As of April 30th, I did not receive a report on the status of the project. No other subcontractor licenses were submitted, nor were any permit revisions made. I'm here for questions, and I believe the tenant's here as well.
And how much work has been done in this unit?
None, because
Like it's a vanilla shell?
yes, it's less than.
It's not even a
yes.
shell, okay. And prior to the 2-month extension, this was going on, what, 2 years?
The unit was released to them in April 2025.
I'd like to hear from the people who's interested in this, because I'm one of those firm believers that this should have been taken care of a long time ago. And I'm still, it should have been taken care of a long time ago. It seems like they're playing games down the road saying, we get a new contractor to come in, they don't come in, then we'll go ask another extension, we got to cut the line somewhere. So I'm just saying, let me hear from them, see what they want to do.
Come on down, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jude Valent. I'm the owner and CEO of Potiwa Pizza, and I'm here to discuss the possibility of having Potiwa Pizza in Boynton Beach. And it's been 3 years since I've been in contact with the CRA for Potiwa Pizza to be part of this community, and I've been working very hard to get things done, but a lot of times things are being difficult. For instance, we have a problem with the Atlantic Coast, which is the company we hired to build for the build out. And a couple of weeks ago, we found out that the company has been sold to another entity, and we were asking them to submit a couple of papers and permits to us for the new contractors. They wouldn't give it to us. And after asking multiple times and weeks in and weeks out, they wouldn't give us the paper. So, and finally, one of the employees told us that the company has been sold to another entity. And because of that, they put us in a very difficult situation. And for me, it's very difficult because we spent about $96,000 on this project already. So we paid them, the Atlantic Coast people, we paid them, 30% of the work that were supposed to be done in the mechanical alone. But we have received an email from them stating that they cannot continue with the build-out process. Put us in a very bad position where we have to look for another contractor. And we found one, and we're on the track and changed the contractors, change different things that we need to do. Now they are putting in place a plan for us, a scope of work, and change contracts and apply for multiple payments. It's frustrating for me too. I know it's hard for you guys because we've been asking to prolong the process. It's frustrating for me too because we've been working on this for so long and spending time and money and energy, and nothing gets done. And with these guys, with the new contractors we have right now, is working diligently to give us a scope of work and apply for all the permits and try to give us something sometime this week before the week ends. We can, present it to the CRA and give them everything that they ask. But it's I understand you guys are frustrated, and me too, I am. So, but when you're dealing with people, doing different things, you can't control what they're doing, such as Atlantic Coast, changing partnership, whatever the case may be, but
Are you
it's
suing
not
them?
us.
Are you suing Atlantic Coast? Are you in a lawsuit with them? Do you have a lawyer to try to get some of your money back?
But
Or
I
is it
would
just
love
like,
to.
hey, keep my money?
No, I'm not going to say, hey, keep the money.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go tomorrow and talk to them, and
Okay.
whatever the case, whatever I have to do, I will, because I can't.
Right, you can't lose that money.
Waste time, money, and energy, and then,
Right.
they just walk away.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Bonnie, I know that there was a lot of delay with the commercial portion of this project, and I know we have some other tenants that have a contractor. Are they using the same contractor?
No, so others are using Centennial
Okay.
So
And
they had
every
it-
other,
oh,
every
sorry.
other tenant is using Centennial?
Except for Unit 107, she
Okay.
has one.
She
Her-
has- she
Yeah,
has her
only
own
2 of
contract.
the 8 bays chose not Centennial. So
Okay.
2 of the 8 chose their own individual contractors.
And Patawa was one of those?
Yes.
And what's the other business?
107, she's a professional services building.
Okay.
Service. Ugh.
Yeah, that's the, yeah. So so help me understand what was the reasoning to choose your own contractor versus utilizing Centennial? Because from my understanding, they're making pretty good headway with some of these other.
Sure. I mean, if you remember that this project has had quite the history. So the development agreement said Centennial RS Construction would build out the units. And then there was an unfortunate delay from them building out the units. So at the petition of the tenants, we came before the board, and I believe Catherine might remember, December of 2024, I believe, we came before the board and said, hey, these are the issues. And the board said, tenants can go and use any developer they want, or contractor that they'd like. And that's when RS Construction kind of kicked it into gear because they felt the pressure from the board, and they started their build-outs in February 2025. RS Construction had to do the underground plumbing for every unit, no matter what. So they completed the underground plumbing, poured the concrete floor, and then turned over the unit to Patawa in April 2025. So then from April 2025, Patawa has control of
Okay.
how they want to move forward
Okay.
in that unit.
What is the comparison of like the current build-out post RS construction with those other units now?
We have 2 COs, and I was promised today 2 more by the end of the month. So I should have hopefully 4. We have the NOP and the lawyer CO'd. Unit 105 is the restaurant, and 103 is the dentist, and those are the next 2 to come online. And then Unit 102 is the urgent care, and they already have framing, electrical, HVAC. They're moving super fast, so that's been encouraging.
And so, and then from my understanding is there's no movement from this unit post RS doing the underground. Is that correct to say?
No, it's the CRA.
I guess the question is, what is the holdup that you have, a half dozen, maybe a little bit less, other businesses that were able to achieve this build out? And I know April 25, I think, is when it was transferred over. You moved forward with your contract. So like, I just need to look at this from a comparison perspective and understand, like, and I think we've given a few extensions also. So like, who's to say we don't give you another extension and then nothing happens? Because it's my understanding that we have restaurants beating down the door to come into these units. And so are we just doing a disservice to these individuals, these businesses, and most importantly, the residents who live here in the city, that will be hopefully getting these jobs? Are we delaying those jobs because we keep kicking the can down the road? And, I understand you've been through an unfortunate circumstance, and I'm sorry to hear that, and that's out of your control, and I hope, you remedy the situation. But it's our job to make sure that we deliver for our residents. And so, I just need more explanation. I've gone through the email chain, and I don't see too much like dialogue or explanation, outside of what you mentioned tonight. So thank you for bringing that up. I just don't want to kick this can down the road further, and then we lose an opportunity. Something happens where maybe you can't pursue, or you do decide to litigate this current contractor you have, and that puts you in a position. Whatever the case may be, I want to make sure that we're delivering, for our residents, who essentially funded this project, with different incentives.
So, my name is Lucica Suarez. I am the project manager, and I spoke with the board. Last time. So if you recall, there was some, the plans needed to be revised. And honestly, that was another holdup, because in the architect office or whatever, the firm, they had internal conflict with their engineers. And I know this is, again, you're probably not really wanting to hear this, but in the process of that, one of the person who's supposed to deliver the equipment, he actually went on vacation in the midst of them actually having internal conflicts. So that actually put us out. And the reason why, and Bonnie can vouch for this, I used to include her in all these CC'd emails, but I just felt like it was just a lot for Bonnie. So I just kind of would just give her updates. Here, this is where we are. And I would call her and ask her for some advice on certain things, especially when we had that conflict, and as well as with Centennial as well. So she was there the first half, but then it just became a lot, a lot. So I didn't want to inundate her when she already has other things that she has to be worried about. Now, as far as the plans, they have been sealed and signed, sealed, and delivered. And then finally, we were able to use the plans to secure the permit and get us under contract. So I completely understand your perspective. I understand that you have to deliver on your promises to your residents, but also want you to know that it's not just because we're sitting on our hands and trying to kick the can down the road. We had a launch date of last year because we wanted to coincide with the Haitian Flag Day of last year. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So I wish I could just show you guys everything that we've gone through with some of these contractors and back and forth or whatever the case may be. But I just, that's what I could, it basically is your decision right now, but I just don't want you to think that nothing has been done, nothing has been paid, and it's not because of, what we're just avoiding or whatever the case may be. We definitely are doing our due diligence. I just didn't include her because it was just, before she would have 10 emails per day coming from us. And I was just all right, we just need to keep this between Potiwa and handle our business before we're trying to bring her into it. And even just here recently, had to call her about a conflict that we had again. And of course, she gave me advice. So whatever y'all paying her, y'all need to double it because she is working. But
I think they're working on that.
but to your point, I don't want you guys to think that we're not, because we are. It's just
With the loss, the $93,000 loss at the time, are you guys still financially secure to finish this build out?
yes. And
Yes.
that was another thing that I made sure I told Jude. I said they're going to want to see that we secured funding. They're going to want to see a contract and make sure those permits in place. And we absolutely did secure funding and a couple of more investors. So as far as the funding is concerned, that's not a problem anymore. I'm sorry, that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, yes, we don't have any funding problem because we've been able, before, we had a couple of investors because we were, it took too long. The project took too long. Some investors say, hey, listen, it takes too long.
Some of the frustrations
We're
you guys have.
frustrating what you have, and
Exactly.
we have to look for other ones. We found,
One, the funding has been secured already.
Secured,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
secured. Yeah, we're secured.
Yeah, the funding has,
No, I made a request, and the response was funding's in place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing would be helpful, I'm not saying that I don't trust you, I'm not taking your word for it. I'm just saying that information is hey, we've secured funding, or even if there's a contingency that hey, the bank, we do this all the time on larger scales, where the bank will, they'll write contingency funding.
so would you like something in writing for us to send to Bonnie as far as the funding is
Also to
concerned?
show your finances, to show your proof of funds secured with investors.
Understood.
Yes, okay, yeah.
That's
We
not a
could-
problem.
We could provide that, yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I got my hand around all of this. Let me go ahead and explain where we are. First of all, you already got some extensions. I'm sorry you got duped, with your project and all that stuff. And you said that you out for permits now? That's with the city?
They've been approved.
They've been approved?
Yes, sir.
Permits been approved, finance has been approved, and you're asking for an extension. What's the extension that they're asking for?
That's to be determined if moving forward.
I'm
They were
just-
given a 60-day to report back, and then we take it from there. So it's what the board.
Okay, thank you. I'm in favor of giving this extension to 60 days. And if you all cannot report back in 60 days with something positive for this board, then we just, shake hands and say, have a nice day. That's the way it's gonna go.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Motion to approve a 60-day extension.
I would go, I'd say 30 days. Is 30 days enough time?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure I understand what we're bringing back in 30 days. You want proof of financial viability. You want basically some progress within the actual structure itself, correct?
Yeah, and I would
Am
say project timeline from your contractor, the new one,
What,
as far as
SO,
completion date, yeah.
Understood.
Like
Okay.
a full comprehensive project timeline from the contractor.
Understood. Okay. That should be produced in 30 days.
Yeah, that should be.
I know he said 30 days. I'm still going to give you all the 60 days so
right.
that
With
y'all
a
will have
30-day
enough time.
update.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
What if we
60
did
with a
like
30-day
60 with a
update?
30-day update, where like, at least.
Apologies, Board, could you
staff-
second for discussion, please?
Second for
Second for
discussion.
Second
discussion.
by discussion.
At least staff could report at the next meeting, give us an update at 30 days, or, at the next meeting, where you are.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, if I have the
Right.
documentation from you now, I'd say let's 6 months. It's just hard for me to make a decision without that documentation.
Right.
Which I think is fair. I think those are fair things to ask for, financing if you had an issue in the past from things outside of your control, which is what it sounds like with this contractor, project timeline, obviously everything you need with the city. I don't know if the contractor might want to change something. Who knows? New contractor, they might do things differently. So I just want to make sure we have all that due diligence in front of us. And if it's 60 days, that's fine by me. If it's tonight, that's fine by me too. I just want to have that due diligence.
So how about we do 60 days with the issued permits as well as proof of financing? And if they want to, if we want them to come back in 30 days to tell us where they're at in the process, but.
Or at least
making
provide it to staff, yeah.
Provide it to staff.
We'll let it go like that, like you said. I'll second that.
Okay.
Well, there's already a motion on the table.
I got the 60 days, okay.
So I'll amend the
include-
current motion to add in the 60-day timeline to consider, to have the secured financing along with the project timeline from the new contractor, and then the city permits, issued permits. Is there anything else?
If I may, Board?
And an update in 30 days.
Yes,
That's
if
my
I
amended
may,
motion.
they need to submit for permit revisions because they changed their floor plan. So not the current permits, because I have access to
Correct.
those. It needs to be the permit revisions.
Yep.
I just want to clarify. Thank you.
Second.
Say, Board Member McCray, do you accept that
I
amendment?
accept that, and Bonnie, work along with them so that they don't bounce the ball anymore at the
Of
court.
course.
Please.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
And I know you'll work with city staff to make sure that it gets pushed through too. So
Yes.
anything we can do.
Yeah, the motion, yeah. I made my motion to include that. Thank you.
Okay, would you, you're comfortable with your motion? And Board
Yes.
Member Turkin, do you renew your second?
Do I want to hear my second?
No, do you renew your second?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously, sir. We'll see you in 60 days and hopefully maybe in 30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. Moving on to new business, item 15A is the consideration of the Commercial Business Relocation Grant Program Guidelines and Application for fiscal year 2025-26.
Good evening again, Board. Mercedes Coppin, Business Development Manager. In consideration of the current and upcoming redevelopment projects within the downtown core and throughout the CRA area, staff is proactively working to develop solutions and support mechanisms for businesses that may be required to relocate as a result of the redevelopment activity. The Commercial Business Relocation Grant Program is designed to help mitigate displacement impacts caused by redevelopment activities, to retain valuable local businesses, and to minimize operational disruptions during the relocation process. The primary goal of the program is to provide reimbursable financial assistance to help offset eligible relocation expenses and to support businesses as they reestablish operations within our city. Staff is proposing 2 funding tiers to support the businesses, up to $10,000 for businesses relocating within the city limits of Boynton Beach, and up to $15,000 for businesses that remain within the CRA area. The grant funding would be based on the applicant's approved project budget with an additional 20% contingency amount to help account for any unforeseen relocation expenses. To be considered eligible for grant funding, applicants must meet several program requirements. First, the business must currently be located within the CRA area, and the applicant must be able to demonstrate that the relocation is a direct result of redevelopment activity. Businesses must also relocate either within the CRA district or elsewhere within the city limits of Boynton Beach. Applicants must provide proof of active business licensing, and the application must be submitted by the principal business owner. Additionally, applicants must have an Experian credit score of 601 or higher and be in good standing on all utility accounts within the city. To help ensure business stability, applicants must also have an executed multi-year lease for their current location with at least 2 years remaining at the time of the application, and the proposed relocation lease must be executed within 45 days of the grant being approved. As previously stated, grant funding will be based upon the applicant's approved project budget. However, any expenses incurred more than 60 days prior to board approval will not be eligible for reimbursement. All reimbursement requests must be submitted within 120 days of the board approval, and the program may only be utilized once every 5 years by a specific business or entity. The program would provide 100% reimbursement assistance for a variety of eligible relocation-related expenses that are commonly incurred when businesses relocate. This would include eligible utilities and professional fees, such as technology connections or installation deposits for internet, cable, point-of-sale systems, security systems, electric and water services. The program would also cover eligible moving expenses, including moving and transportation costs, insurance during transport, packing and unpacking services, packing materials, furniture and equipment reassembly or installation, and temporary storage for up to 90 days. In addition, certain lease-related expenses would also qualify for reimbursement, including lease applications, legal or real estate fees associated with lease negotiation or relocation, and security deposits for the new location. Since the program is intended to assist with direct relocation-related expenses, there are several costs that would not be eligible for reimbursement under the program guidelines. Ineligible expenses would include ongoing operational costs, such as rent or mortgage payments, payroll or staffing expenses, lost revenue associated with the relocation process. The program would also exclude property acquisition costs, interior tenant improvements, build-outs, renovations or remodel, and inventory purchases. Additionally, the purchase of any new furniture, equipment, vehicles, or technology upgrades would not qualify for reimbursement, as the program is intended to support relocation rather than expansion or capital improvements. Marketing and advertising expenses, as well as insurance costs unrelated to the move or transportation, would also be ineligible. To support the implementation of the grant program within this fiscal year, staff is recommending the reallocation of $75,000 within the business development budget. Based on the proposed funding and the maximum grant amounts, this allocation would account for approximately 5 businesses that could potentially be displaced this fiscal year. And that does conclude my presentation. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mercedes. I have one concern with the eligibility requirements. The one in particular is that must have an executed multi-year lease for a current location with 2 years remaining. I know a lot of times when properties are purchased, and a tenant may have had a longer lease at some point, but a lot of times I would imagine that they've transitioned to 1 year or kind of a month-to-month. I know that the mall has done that. Now anyone that moves into the mall is on a month-to-month, because any day they can turn around and say, have a nice day, we've sold. And so my concern is when you have somebody who maybe is a longtime tenant of a building, but that building was purchased by a new owner that's going to redevelop it, or however that gets affected, and now they're in a position where they're in a short-term lease because they're not sure when the build is going to happen, And now they've been a long time tenant. So I wonder if we can change that language or look at other language where maybe they're a long time tenant that can provide history, of being a tenant, but maybe isn't going to have a lease with 2 years remaining because their landlord turned them over to a month-to-month or an annual lease because of, development plans. So I want to be sensitive to tenants like that where, maybe they've been in the city and they've been in their building for many years, but because of the situation, it's changed. So I'm just wanting that, I struggle with that for that reason, because I feel like that's in a lot of situations where, we have that, where we might have a long-term tenant, but they've switched the lease because of development uncertainty. So, so that's the only one that was kind of a red flag to me that I would like to look at possibly changing the wording of.
Yes, we can absolutely redefine what that looks like. We had mirrored this off of our other grant programs, but you made very valid points with your statement. So yeah, we can absolutely go back and change the language there.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Board Member Kelly. I think a perfect example is Hurricane Alley. I mean, look at that, The other thing is can we go to ineligible? The marketing, can we not, are any of these because of state statute or because of legal recommendation?
The reason why we have it that way is because we already have grant programs in place for marketing. We have a marketing grant. So if there was anything related to rent reimbursement or the commercial property improvement grant, they can apply for those separately.
What if they had already utilized that grant, though? That's my question, is they've already used that grant and they don't, if they're not eligible to reuse that grant. My thing is I think we should help promote, especially if they're going to go maybe on the west side of 95 and they're going to stay within the city. I think it would be advantageous to help promote that transition. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to strike that out or at least create a mechanism for this board to approve on a case-by-case mechanism. I understand what you're saying, we want to be able to give them the marketing grant and do that, and I 100% agree with that. I'm just thinking about those tenants who, have utilized this, they've scaled, they've done everything right, and the program works. Now they're going to expand. I just want to make sure that, if they have everything else, they're good, that they can leverage this for that marketing transition or to market that they are transitioning elsewhere.
So specifically with the marketing grant, we don't have the clause in there that it can only be used within every 5 years. They can apply for that annually. So every fiscal year, they would be able to apply for it. I'm not sure how it would work with businesses that would be located outside of the CRA area, that would be relocating, if they would be qualifying for that grant as well.
So that's another reason why we should open this up, because then they could market outside of the city. They could use this. Or would that be a gray area with statute? Because the way I look at it is they were a CRA business.
Right, so I would say that is more of a gray area, and I would like the chance to look into it to answer that question, because the statute typically confines those marketing type efforts to within the CRA area. However, the statute does also specifically allow for relocation, and Attorney General opinions allow for relocation outside of the CRA area. So we can certainly add it subject to final legal review if that's what you'd like.
Yeah, if everyone else is okay with that. Thank you, Mercedes, as always.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No, just a quick comment. I do want to support what Board Member Kelly mentioned earlier. I think that's a very, very valid point. And then for some of these grants, you're saying that the rebuild or the rental are available every fiscal year. Which one's available?
The marketing grant is available every fiscal year. There are limitations on the rent as well as the property improvement grant. You're welcome.
Good. Moving on.
Catherine, do you want us to approve, do you want us to have a motion, or do you want to treat this as a discussion item to come back for another review once you've made your
It's completely within your discretion. If you would like to make a motion to approve it with the updated language to allow the alternate to show history instead of a tier lease, and then also to include additional marketing expenditures if they're moving outside the CRA area, subject to final legal review, that will allow us to go ahead and finalize it.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you again.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mercedes.
So for the next item.
Yeah.
It's a continuation. Board Chair, I don't know if you need
Yes,
to intro
please.
it.
No, go ahead.
You're good? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so this is for the budget reallocation for the Commercial Business Relocation Grant Program that you just approved. The Business Development Program Fund has monies that have not been utilized due to the cancellation of some of our business promotional activities. The Spring Market, as well as the Heart of Boynton Holiday Light Decor Display. We have identified $75,000 that could be reallocated within the same line item to fund the grant for this fiscal year.
Motion to approve the budget reallocation of $75,000.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Item
Mercedes.
15C is the consideration of the purchase of 221 Northeast 9th Avenue. Teresa.
Good evening, Board. This is a great opportunity. 221 Northeast 9th Avenue, there you go, is adjacent to property that the CRA already has owned for several years. We had at one point allocated the properties along what would continue Second straight through. So this just adds more for if we decide to go that route or property bank. So anything that we do on MLK will have sufficient amount of, say, parking. If we were to do something on MLK, it would provide parking in the back, whatever the board decides there. So we continue to purchase properties in that corridor because it is one of our last big projects in that area. So we're excited. It was offered at appraised value. They accepted, even though it was listed much higher. So I'm just coming before the board for thoughts.
Is there potential to abandon that roadway?
It doesn't exist. Oh, yes, it doesn't exist. We were going to continue it through.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
why that's there. Got
Because
it.
Yeah.
Public
So you guys
Works
are gonna
is
put a
right.
road there.
I put that
You'll
in so
punch
you could
through.
see where it would come
Okay.
straight, yes, from north to south. MLK, one of the issues is you have on the south side, there's nowhere to turn. So we've batted that around either northeast third or second. It would be whatever the board desires, or as we get a development that comes along, what it may require.
Okay, so this is showing to put in road and punch through. This is 2 streets. Got it.
This is about 2 lots, isn't it?
It's a
equates to
double
about-
lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve this because we definitely needs this because of the way that the traffic flows. And I'm just saying, anytime that we can bank like land and get things so that we can utilize it, because on MLK Boulevard, we do not have parking. Parking is, even when the church is having something, we have no parking.
Great, we have a motion. And
Second.
we already have a second
Okay.
from Board Member Cruz. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. 15D, consideration of fiscal year 2025-26 budget reallocation for property purchase of 221 Northeast 9th.
So quickly, I have a remainder of $431,000 left in property acquisition. The purchase that we just decided for approval was $628. We have $250,000 sitting in a line item it was a stormwater program that I think we've rolled it over now 2 years. We most likely are not going to use it. So there's $250 in the project funding. So that's where staff would suggest taking the money from so we can make the purchase.
Okay.
Teresa, excuse me, we have.
You're right.
You got the money.
You have the money, yes, sir.
Any questions, or would anyone like to make a motion?
No motion to,
I so moved.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a
beat
motion and
me
we have
to
a
it.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Great, awesome, thank you.
Moving on, item 15E is the discussion regarding CRA strategic planning, redistricting, property acquisition plan, bond, and CRA update. Which staff member is on for this?
I can handle that one. Good evening, staff. This will be fairly quick. This is just a discussion item about some big topics that the CRA board has been discussing in the recent meetings. We are looking for direction on if the board is interested in moving forward with these 3 items. The first being CRA redistricting, the second being property acquisition, a plan for it, or a bond or a loan that accompanies that, and the CRA plan update. If the board does recommend moving forward with all 3, staff does have a recommendation for the order in which these should happen. First would be redistricting. The second would be the CRA plan update, which we would do the property acquisition as a part of it. So we'd be consolidating the second 2 items. So looking for direction on if we want to move forward with all 3. And if we want to do that, I would respectfully request that we postponed or cancel the scheduled workshop for, I think it's on May 30th. Staff will need more time to get some data for you all so we can make some informed decisions on redistricting.
How much time do you guys need? Like maybe after the summer legislative break or before?
Yeah, I think 3 months
Okay.
to get the data and get some good graphics for you guys to make some decisions, I think would be appropriate.
Yeah, I definitely.
For legislative break.
Yeah.
That's plenty of time. I
Yeah.
think that works better.
Yeah, I definitely support all 3 of these things. I will say, I've mentioned this before. We've sat around and played with this map, so I think it's important to really look at neighborhoods and really look at the CRA mission. And I would argue, when you look at Forest Park and some other neighborhoods east of Seacrest that are not in the CRA district, I think they could benefit, from the CRA's mission. And then, again, I'm going to be bullish on the loan just for the sake of being the, spearhead and pioneers of how we want our city to grow and having that control. So that way we don't have to, rely on the private sector ad valorem, influx to be able to provide services to our residents. We can do this, and we can, and also I think now too is, I think every developer is wanting to do business in the city. And, I know we're getting extremely busy, so I think we have a little bit more leverage. And so, we can acquire this land, and then that way, we can partner with who we want to partner on and, call the shots, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I support all of these.
So you got your marching orders.
I'm on it. So we can cancel the
Yeah.
current workshop and we
Yes.
will reschedule for
You guys will
after
come back
break.
to us. to
Yes,
reschedule that.
perfect.
Board Chair, I apologize. That motion, that workshop was set by motion, so I'll need a motion to
I'll
cancel.
motion to postpone the current workshop.
To a later date. Second.
You want it to cancel or postpone since we
I'll
don't have a date?
postpone these that are going to come back. Postpone to a later date
Yes.
after staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Now we will move on to F.
Yes, I'll be handling F as well. This will be brief also. As part of the assessment that the city has been undertaking on review of CRA and personnel, there are a couple of changes and recommendations for promotions that we'd like to bring forward. This item actually approves 2 things: new classifications and associated pay grades. But we can talk about what these are. The current development services manager does a scope of work that is wildly outside of her scope, and we are looking to promote her to the CRA Development Services Director, as well as the current grants and project manager, same, does way more than is within her scope. We are looking to promote that position to the CRA Economic Development Director. And then these other 3 are changes to the positions. We are updating the administrative assistant to be a CRA administrative coordinator coordinator to be able to manage higher level work. We are reclassifying the assistant director to be the deputy executive director. We're adding more leadership responsibilities within that role. And we are just updating the same title, the development services specialist. This is the unfunded position that has been on the books for about 5 years. This would be reporting to the new development service director to assist with development projects.
I don't have a question.
Yes, sir.
It's long overdue, and I'm just saying, we looked at, when we made this decision that we was going to do what we had to do with the CRA, it's already in our court, and I'm going to offer a motion that we approve what has been brought back before us.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Before we close,
Yes, I was
Chair,
just gonna ask that.
can I get consensus from my colleagues for us to look into like a workforce housing project to do internally? That way we can really return,
Yes.
To at least a strong local preference. And maybe the next step is like family members of Boynton residents. I think that's fair. And I know that there's some legal mechanisms, but I at least like staff to look at that and see what we can do. That way we're getting premier product and, we're returning the money back to our residents that they've invested in.
On the future agenda item.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm okay in looking into that. And also consider we can continue to work with the private sector without accepting the county's workforce housing and, provide the land for, in a certain way that it makes it beneficial to. For liability reasons, I think I would like to get some information the day of the meeting about is there a potential liability to the city or anything of that nature to be added to the discussion, as I'm not really familiar with the topic. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nothing else from my colleagues, do I have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you all for attending, and anyone that watched online, have a great night. Meeting adjourns at 8.